This is Dirshu Mishnah Beruraha as we once again begin a new Siman is Siman Kuf Zayin. Yes, unfortunately we have fallen behind again. I thank everyone that has been pushing, giving chizik to continue. No, it is not a matter of paying for these shiurim, although we'll always share the schus of sponsorships. Rather, it's purely just a matter of making the time and getting it done. So I apologize that we're once again behind, but I appreciate the chizik. And b'siyata d'shmaya, we will catch up. So the Mechaber coins this siman, I'm a subik and misvalel. You're not sure? Did I daven? V'din tfilas nedava, and the din, the halachis of davening on a dava supplication, which we know is extremely important. Everything's important. Because anytime you forget, and unfortunately we're forgetful creatures, there are certain times you could daven on a dava and certain times you cannot. So let's get to it. Says the Mechaber in Sival. You're not sure if you daven. You're allowed to daven again, and you don't have to say any chiddush. You don't have to say anything new. You're not sure you davened. Daven again. However, in bari lo sheyisbal, you know that you davened. You're never supposed to daven again unless you're machadesh, unless you add on something to the tefillah. And if you are adding something on, then you're allowed to daven again b'nedava as a donation, as a not an obligation but an extra gift to Hashem. Kol hapam shi'irtz as much as you want. Chutz mitfilas musaf she'im yisrael lo'esab b'nedava. Musaf is never nedava. So rule number one of nedava is musaf is never included. Ubishabes yantif. Rule number two. Shabbos and Yontif the Dava is out. If you began to daven, you don't think you davened. Classical case, sometimes in maybe the summer months, you daven the Ma'ariv earlier on in the day, and you're in a shul later, or you're at a simcha and they're davening Ma'ariv, and you're not thinking, unfortunately, and you start davening again. What do? Ayvez Meir, in middle of Shon Esrei, Paisik, you stop, Afilu be'emsa, bracha, smack in middle, stop on a dime. Afilu yachol achadish badavar. Let's dive straight into the Mishnah Beruraha. Says Mishnah Beruraha, Sefkatan Aleph Misbalo. Ulini kriyishma bracha seven. Stop it. Kriyishma on the brachas. You're not sure if you daven ein le'elsim in samach zayin. And of course, Dirshu, as always, reminds us what we learned over there in Siman samach zayin. And tells us that if you misspell big gamel kriyishma and on the brachas, you say the kriyishma with the brachas before and afterwards. Why? Kriyishma is the deraisa, safek deraisa l'chomra. The brachas are derabanam. No, but if you're already going to go back, you go back with the brachas. And over there we as well explained, if you're misspell on part of kriyishma, or just on the brachas, or on part of them, ayin sham. Again, if it's just the brachas, you're not going to go back. Kriyishma, though, is a deraisa. Once you're going back, you go back for the whole thing. And we continue with Sif Katan Beis. Chayzer Mispalo. And when you daven again, this is a case that you're not sure if you daven again, says the Mishnah Beruraha, Sif Katan Beis, that when you're going to daven again, Masnev Amar, you make it Tanai as follows. Em lo ispalalti, if I didn't daven teilachayvasi, this tefillah should be for an obligation. Em ispalalti, if I davened teilin nedava, it should be as a nedava, it should be as a gift. Va'af al pi shekol safik midivrei seifin lahakel, says Mishmur, 1 second. Safik d'rabanan likula. So why are you davening again? Because really bad sim inherently, we should be davening all day. By keeping adding on more and more to the tefillos, as we're going to see. But here, because of the suffix, you don't have to add on to your tefillah, but you're allowed to daven again. Why? Because if we were to daven the entire day, beautiful lamdis. So now, the trick question would be, if you daven again in a case of suffix, do you have to be machadish something? The answer is you don't have to, but you are. What do you mean? How am I doing it? The answer is the tefillah itself is inherently a chiddush. Why? Because you're being yoytze, you're a suffix. The Arv is suffix in his lachsel. If you're not sure, you don't daven again. The kavua chayva bevadai loy besafik, because we only created ma'ariv into a chiyuv in a situation of vadi, not in suffix. So if you're not sure, if you daven ma'ariv again, you don't have to daven again. Now we'll do it. Gadim ashma raktin chayva love the kuli alma, just that it's not a chiyuv according to everyone. Ayin sham. Avlechatchila nachri shachzi yisrael gamba arvis paskins Mishnah Beruraha. And I don't want to say this is the most common case, but sometimes nighttime things do get more forgetful. If one's not sure if you daven ma'ariv, you daven again. It's better. It's proper. It's nachin, says Mishnah Beruraha. Why? Even if we paskin that it's a derabanan, excuse me, it's rishos, it's optional. Lechatchila, it's a mitzvah. Therefore, being yoytz to the suffix as well, chiddush. So the ikr b'zak halacha is if you get ma'ariv, it's nachin, it's proper to daven again. And you're allowed to daven again without being mechadish anything, which we have to see what that means, because it itself, to be yoytz to the suffix, is a chiddush. However, it's not a yoytzer toiv, it's even better. So it's a nachin, it's not a yoytzer toiv, it's good and good and good. To do what? To be mechadish something. Eat when you daven ma'ariv again. Sivkot and Gimel. This is going on the halacha that if you're sure that you did not daven, then you should never daven again. Excuse me, if you're sure that you davened, don't daven again. But if you want to daven again, but there's the daven, you feel in the mood of davening, you're allowed to with a chiddush. Says Mishnah Beruraha Sivkot and Gimel, you should not be chayzer. The tefillah connected tefillah taken on tefillah is a tamid. And you bring a tamid shel shachar, tamid shel bein arbayim, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and that's your obligation. More than that, as an obligation, is forbidden. Why? Also, Mishabal Taisif, we see how critical and how real the connection of tefillah to a carbon is that by having an extra tefillah to ki'ilu, you're Bal Taisif. You daven the originally biyachid, afterwards as Baal B'Simer, now you want to daven with a minion filachi, it's forbidden. However, you're allowed to daven Salban and Dava, Sefkot and Dalar Pirish, Dafka bin Dava. Aval Shem Chayva Filu B'Chidish Aser. So you have to be careful to say, I daven b'Yechidas, now as a minion, I'm going to daven again. But I'm going to daven as an Dava, that's not enough. You're davening as, that is enough. But if you're davening again because you think you have an obligation, that is not enough. Even if you're mechadish something in the tefillah. Davening nechadish ben a dava. Chiddush. What is this chiddush? What is this adding on something new in the tefillah? Min kar mi toichash tefillah l'shem tachanunim. By having that chiddush, it is recognizable that the tefillah is tachanunim, is a supplication v'loy l'shem chayva. U'b'loy chiddush mechzak mishayis l'shem chayva. Without the chiddush, and if it sure looks like a chiyuv. V'ayin beisez yerbeir das atur do adinim isval tefillah shalei b'teres chayva. V'gam lo iskavin b'lishon nedava. If you didn't daven as a chayva, and you also did not having kitten for nedava, v'hu mechadish va, and you added something in, then it's shap or dummy. So if you're not sure why you're davening, but you added something in, that's enough. But again, the right thing is to do it as a nedava, not as a chayva. We continued and we learned that tefillah musaf is not allowed to be done b'nedava. Sefkot and hero to leimer. Afilu shal rosh chodesh chol hamoed kivu shem musavim kehel chasam. V'musavim in a krivim el mishal tzibor v'in yachli yachli na'avdi v'isam. The carbon musaf, again, we see how real this connection is. The carbon musaf is not allowed to be brought by a yachid, and therefore you never do a carbon musaf as an adava. Vayin b'achrein shekasel fees ever tefillos musaf. Who are them b'shavs yontav b'chol tefillos and the stopping misalo some in yachli achsas v'alisam. If you're not sure if you daven on Shabbos or Yontif, if you're not sure if you daven Musaf, you don't do it again. Tarei sarach lahastas chabasef kotabez, as we've seen already. You have to make this tanai. If it's a chiv, it's a chiv. It's a davar, it's a davar. You're not allowed to do it on Shabbos. Ubezayin yachal lahastas. So like one sim kochav talis v'al be'er lahacha. Klaus have got involved with shin. The darim davar is kriven b'hem because no, the darim and the davas that are brought on Shabbos. That you never bring in a dava. You never daven as an adava on Shabbos. Afilu yachal sivkot and zayin. What's this going on? This is going on the end of this halacha that if you're middle of your davening and you realize it was a mistake, you stop, drop, and roll smack in middle of the bracha. Even if you're able to machadish something, you should not. You should stop right away. Says the Mishnah Beruraha. Sivkot and Zayin afilu yachal detchila esfila hayom mistam vadishim chayva. Why do you have to stop right away? Because mistama, you thought you had a daven. So why are you davening? As a chiyuv, shareya, you think you didn't daven yet. V'loy mahani, and because you started as a chiyuv, v'loy mahani b'chidish, it's not going to help to add something in right now because you think it's a chiyuv. V'lekach afilu im ta'ata l'kam l'shem nadav v'loy mahani. Again, we're realizing how real this equation is. That you're not allowed to bring a carbon that's part nedava, part chiv. And therefore, if you thought and you started as a chiv, whatever you're going to do afterwards will not help you. You got to stop right away. If you didn't think you davened. You're not sure you davened. And you start davening. And then in the middle, you're like, oh, of course I davened. Then the Ein Sar Chedish. Then you'll have to finish. Why? You started properly as a suffix. As we have seen, two Ein Sar Chedish, you don't have to do anything else. The says you should add something in Efsha to Alidei Tzadi Yisatayif. Paskins the Mishnah Beruraha, you don't have to add on a Chedish because you started for the right reason. So again, if you davened already and you thought you had a daven and you realized in the middle, you stop right in the middle, there's no way to help that. But if you started in Misafek and then you realize that you davened, you remember, then you're allowed to finish. Lavush says it's better to do a B'chidish, and we'll pick up from Sif Beis in the next year. B'siyato Dishmaya.